Would I be an idiot if I left my family for a new one? When my mother was young, she had a son, Andrew. The father was never in the picture. A couple years later, she met another man, married, and had another son, me. They divorced a couple years later because he only treated me like a son and acted like my older brother literally didn't exist. A few years later, my mother meets the man who actually becomes our family's dad. They marry, have a child, Henry, and we become a happy little family. This man adopted my older brother and I, 10 and 8 at this point, and Henry never even knew we were adopted. My parents were stricter than most. My father was a U.S. Marine, so it kind of came with the territory. Around high school my life takes a turn. My parents begin offering things to my siblings, but not to me, because I don't spend time with the family. If I do spend time with them, they purposely don't offer anything. Because I'm there. I became Henry's personal playmate. If I say no when asked, our parents made me play with him anyway, because he's 8 and that's my job. In junior year, I was asked to wash my father's truck. I did an absolutely awful job, and my father as punishment said I couldn't have a license until I was 18. They bought Andrew 2 cars and Henry 1, but sold mine and spent the money while I was in training. They sent Henry to private school. They spent all the money they claimed was going into my savings over the years. After training, I moved to Rodeo. A childhood friends, an extremely close friend, family, the Aarons, lived there and took me in as if I was their own blood. I was struggling to deal with other humans in the workplace as an adult, as a kid. You could just ignore other people, but my mother and father never prepared me for when I couldn't, and the parents of the Aarons provided me advice whenever I asked, and sometimes when I didn't, to help me deal with the adjustment. They showed me how to properly deal with conflict and disagreement, how to do finances, how to showcase my natural strengths in the workplace, showed me affection, something that I thought I'd had as a child. But in hindsight, definitely didn't have enough after reaching my teens. I've been with the Aarons for almost 6 years now. The way they treat their kids was absolutely mind-blowing to me. The kids joke around with the parents, and they do things together as a family. The Aaron children and I introduce each other as family. When someone asks, really, my. Now, siblings always respond so naturally it's as if I've always been here. I live with them. I celebrate holidays and birthdays with them. I fight with them. But at least now I know how to make peace with them too. This has only driven a deeper wedge between my mother and I. My father didn't hurt me purposely, but never stopped my mother. My brothers, while not perpetrators, were benefactors. Would I be the idiot if I walked away entirely and completely embraced my place as an Aaron? Comments before the update. Not the idiot. I was taken under by my husband's family when we were teens. Like you, they pretty much taught me how to be a self-sufficient, independent adult. I truly owe them my life. I didn't have good parents, but I was lucky to find a good family. I consider them my family. You can also choose your own family. Not the idiot. Remember, there is a difference between family and blood. One cares about you and shows it and treats you as someone important to them. The other happens to share some level of DNA with you, often falling back on that shared quirk as an excuse for poop behavior too and calling it family. It's not. Update. I've received a couple of messages asking for an update on my life after my first post, but an update would have been incomplete at that point. It also took me another good month to work up the courage to decide to ask the Aarons. Even after being told it wouldn't be morally wrong to do so, the irrational fear of rejection still weighed on me. I asked the Aarons early to mid-May for their permission to change my name. They were excited and happy to take me in, officially, but noted they were not looking forward to the drama it would cause with my biological mother. I legally changed my name to Aaron in late May, and spent the following 2.5 weeks changing it across all my identifications and wherever the government or my work would need me to update it. That is all complete, and I am now 100% an Aaron legally. My biological mother found out mid-June, after I'd finished changing all my social media accounts to match my new name. This was despite none of my biological family being friends on any platforms, and my pages being set to private. There were a couple days of her throwing a hissy fit, attempting to contact the Aaron parents to yell at them via social media, how she feels betrayed, and it really hurts, etc. I put an end to her contacting them. She hasn't contacted myself or them again since I made it clear she wasn't to attack them over my decision. I've never been happier. Thank you to everyone who provided feedback to my first post, and to the people who messaged me to let me know they were sincerely invested in knowing how my situation turned out. Not the idiot. I'm very happy for you, congratulations. Just something to think about. You may want to make sure that the Aarons are listed as power of attorney if they did not officially adopt you. If you are medically incapacitated and in a coma, your parents would have medical power of attorney automatically unless you have something set up. Not the idiot. Were you aware that there are adult adoptions in the US? You could legally become a part of the Aaron family. Even if you don't get adopted, consult a lawyer to ensure that if something happens to you, your bio family does not have next of kin status. Congratulations on making the family of your heart official. Should Opus have changed families like clothes? Let me know in the comments. Am I the idiot for not inviting my best friend on a girls' trip? I, female 22, and my girls go on a girls' trip every December since we all have breaks from uni. We're a group of 6 girls and have been doing this since we were 18. We weren't able to go last year because of COVID. My best friend, female 21, has a 14-month-old son. Since her son was born, we haven't had a day alone with her, which I guess is understandable because she is a new mom. We tried to include her in all the plans we had since having her child, but noticed she would always ask if we could change what the plan was to accommodate her baby coming too. This meant the plan was almost always a coffee shop. I genuinely didn't mind changing all of the plans to be more child-friendly, and just assumed she couldn't get her man or parents to watch her baby for a while. I called her a few weeks ago to ask if she wanted to come to a club with us, and she asked if we could go to a coffee shop instead so she could bring her baby. I asked if there was no one who could watch her baby. She lives with her husband who works from home, and her in-laws, to which she replied that she'll feel insane mum guilt if she goes to a club and leaves her baby at home. I said I understood but that I really needed a night out, but we could do coffee the next day. She texted me the following day asking why I had such a big problem having her child around. I was baffled because I'm the one constantly changing plans to accommodate her son, but I asked her to understand me for one night. I really needed a night out and didn't want to be in a coffee shop. She sounded irritated by my reasoning but left it at that. Now, the girls' trip is coming in a week. I didn't really tell her about the trip because I knew she couldn't come alone, but she heard it from another friend. She jokingly asked why I didn't invite her, to which I laughed off because I felt so awkward. I told her she was welcome to come as always and I would love to have her there. I thought the call was an indication that she would come alone. She called the next day to ask if the resort we were going to be staying at was child-friendly. I said it wasn't, as we were looking for more of a club atmosphere, and that's what it was. She then said she couldn't make it then if it wasn't going to properly accommodate her son in the activities we do. I said I understand and that I'm sorry. I got a call from her older sister last night calling me all sorts of names because I didn't want my best friend's son to come on the girls' trip and that I'm being childish. I'm genuinely still in such shock and don't know how to even type what I'm feeling right now. We haven't had proper fun together in ages because it's either we're too busy caring for my best friend's baby, or a few of us were missing because of COVID, etc. This is the first time we've all been together since we graduated undergrad and started our masters. We've been having hectic years and just wanted one carefree holiday. So, am I the idiot for wanting our annual girls' trip to actually be a girls' trip? Edit. I tried to hint once that I wanted my birthday a few months ago to be just us, but she laughed it off and made a joke about how her and her son are attached by the hip and she couldn't leave him. She asked if we could minimize how much alcohol there was going to be so she could bring her son. Comments before the update. Not the idiot. Her having a child doesn't mean the rest of you all have to change your lifestyle. She made a choice and has to live with that choice. Or she could not act crazy and just let someone else watch her son for an evening. Not the idiot. It goes both ways. You make an effort to accommodate her needs. Does she make one to accommodate yours? Granted, she is a mother now, so her priority is her child. Did you cut her off when she was pregnant? No. Did you cut her off after the third time? I assume there's been 3 occasions from the way you describe it. She asked you to change your wants to accommodate her needs. No, you accommodated her. Did you simply not invite her on the holiday? Not by the sounds of it. It sounds like you extended the invitation and she rejected it as it is. Update. So we went on our girls' trip and had the best week we had since before COVID started. We all kind of chose to not speak about the issue with our friend and just have a good time, and sort out the issue when we got back home. The day after we got back, I texted my best friend and asked if we could come over and see her and her son and also to deliver the gifts we had gotten during the trip. She read the message and hadn't replied for 3 days. I called her husband just to ask if she was okay and he said she was, and he doesn't know why she wasn't responding to me. Anyway, I decided not to double text as I didn't want to nag her. She texted back after 3 days with an essay-like response explaining how disappointed she felt that I thought she would give up days of motherhood just to drink and be a skank. Good to know what she thinks of us then, lol. She ended the message by saying she and her husband are trying for another baby and she doesn't have the mental capacity to deal with our crap. After which, she left all the group chats and blocked us all on every social media platform. So, that's it I guess. Best friends since year 4 and this is how our friendship has ended. Still baffled to be honest, but maybe it was for the best. Hoping I'll see the good in this one day. Thank you so much to everyone that responded, and Happy New Year lovelies. Not the idiot. She will regret this. One day she'll look back and realize she fricked up. Friends are hard to come by as you get older, and she just closed the door on you all. She is incredibly selfish. You did nothing wrong. You were a very good friend to her. Not the idiot. Most people grow apart from their childhood friendships, and sometimes it happens very abruptly. She made the decision to have a child at a very young age. That is a life-changing thing, and it makes sense that she is giving up a lot of things that people experience in their 20 seconds. The problem is that she expected her entire group of friends to give up those same things to accommodate her and reacted coldly when you all continued to live your lives the same way most people do in their early 20 seconds. Now for the next story. Am I the idiot for wanting my ex-husband to help me pack up our late daughter's bedroom instead of my current partner? I am a 33-year-old woman who 6 years ago lost my 2-year-old daughter to leukemia. My husband and I tried to make things work, but the grief of losing her and the emotions at the time made our relationship unsalvageable, and a year after her death we divorced. I kept her room as it was, as I like to go there sometimes to sit and remember her and be around her things, minus the few keepsakes her father took with him when we divorced so he could remember her too. A while after we divorced I met my current partner, and now 3 years into our relationship I am 29 weeks pregnant with a little boy. I am equally excited and terrified about this as I'm so scared of going through that kind of pain again. I live in a 2-bedroom home, so obviously my daughter's room needs to be packed up, and I accepted that, though it wasn't easy. My partner offered to help me do so, and I told him if he wanted to help it'd be appreciated, but that I'd also asked my ex-husband to help me so we could decide together what we each wanted to keep, donate, or toss. This upset my partner as he doesn't like the idea of my ex-husband being around for such a lengthy time, and that since he is my partner I should have asked only him, and told me I could just put aside a few random things for my ex. I tried to explain to him that my daughter was also my ex-husband's daughter, so he had a right to be there for this, and reminded him that if he wanted to help he could of course be there too. He doesn't want to be around my ex-husband however so denied this and has been upset with me all night over this. Is it truly unreasonable that I'd ask my ex-husband to be a part of this? Comments before the update. Not the idiot. I'm married to a woman that had children prior to our marriage. I have a stepson and stepdaughter. I absolutely despise her ex-husband and he despises me. Neither of us have one single positive thing to say about the other, and we are just cordial enough to be in the same room during events, graduations, get-togethers, family stuff you know. Because we are adults, but the interaction ends there. There is absolutely no way under these circumstances that I would even begin to express anything but support and understanding. This is something so unbearably sad and traumatizing that I question that he is even worth being married to if this was his response. As the new husband, I'd be grateful and flattered that I was invited to participate in it. Update. My partner did not back up on his displeasure over my ex-husband coming round to help packing up our late daughter's bedroom. And he said some very hurtful things regarding me, my ex-husband and my late daughter that I will not post here as it'd probably get my post removed. He then told me if I didn't call off my ex-husband coming round for this he'd break up with me as he wouldn't put up with it. Clearly thinking I'd back down on this as I wouldn't want to be a single parent, and he seemed so freaking smug as he made this threat. By this point I was already seeing red. He could insult me all he wanted but the things he said about my daughter. I told him to get the frick out of my house and never come back then and kicked him out, throwing his stuff after him in a fit of rage. Nothing breakable, don't worry. And that was that. I then spent the day crying over all of this. A few days later my ex-husband came around and we packed up our daughter's room, and during it he asked me if my partner was around. I explained the situation to him and he was so pissed off on my behalf. And he spent the rest of the afternoon comforting me about it. He then would call me every day to check if I needed anything or help with anything as I'm starting to get less agile, and began to spend more time around to help out. The last 2 nights he has actually been sleeping on my sofa in case I need anything during the night, as I went into labor with our daughter a few weeks further along than I am right now. And he keeps fretting about what if that happens while I'm alone. Last night he asked me if I'd consider going out for something to eat with him to see about possibly restarting things. No pressure, just to test the waters, and I agreed as having him around so much and being so helpful. It reminded me of all our good times and why I fell in love with him in the first place. We are taking it slowly, one day at a time. Ironic that my ex-partner's jealousy and actions may have caused exactly what he wanted to avoid. On the subject of my ex-partner, he has not been around since or called me, and I am getting a lawyer involved to check what I should do in regards to our son moving forward. It was an easy split as we weren't married. The house is in my name and always has been, and he'd only moved in after I got pregnant by accident. Not the idiot. Time can heal a lot. Obviously you still grieve the loss of your daughter, but maybe the time to grieve apart for you and your ex was needed. Good luck as you move forward. Not the idiot. Honestly, I'm sorry to hear how badly your ex-boyfriend acted. You lost a child, as did your ex-husband, and even if you broke up you were both her parents. Packing up her room without him would have probably broken his heart. You were entirely reasonable and the ex-boyfriend responded in an atrocious manner.